Again, good morning. I want to thank everyone for attending. Today we'll have a great informative session on the challenge of email security within the education environment. We have a great speaker today. That's Lenny, who is the Chief Technology Officer at South Brook School District. He's in charge of overseeing all the technology for his district. But before I move forward, I'd like to introduce myself and Chris. This way you know we're the host of this event and you kind of know who you're working with here. I'm Wayne Roy. I'm the CEO of Troinet. Troinet is an IT company that's been involved with K to higher ed schools for over 15 years. We have sister schools making the right technology decisions, from opening a new facility to what is the best strategy for adopting and securely using technology within the school. We are who you call when you need to decide on what to use, how to implement it, and how to support your technology solutions. We work with schools on the on-prem as well as the cloud initiatives schools may have. So we're kind of the smarts. When you get stuck, you reach out to us and we kind of give you the answers. I'd also like to introduce Chris Peluso. He's with Libra SBA, and they're solving the problems that schools continue to have, and that is how to protect the staff and the students by the continuous threats coming in through email, and how to add on a layer of protection to minimize problems and ensure safety. Chris, I know you could probably tell it better than I can. Tell us a little about yourself, if you could, please.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. I've been in the network and email security field for 20 years, primarily helping innovative cybersecurity companies develop a global footprint. And when I joined Libra ESVA last year, I focused on doing the same. Libra ESVA is a European cybersecurity company who's been in business for around 10 years. And I joined last year to help them expand into North America. And we started working a lot with school districts. And so I've been very happy, with organizing this with you today. And schools are especially under attack from predators and other attackers using email as a primary method of getting into networks. So I think this is a very relevant topic, and email is, again, the most widely used threat vector today. So whether it's a school or any other organization, email needs to be protected, and I'm happy to be a part of that.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. And just so we're Libra ESVA is doing some incredible things with helping schools secure things. We know from our experience, and we've touched different products and different solutions, and Lenny's going to be able to touch a little bit more on that in real life experience with it, that there's a lot of products out there, but they're complicated, or they just don't do what they're supposed to do. And we found Libra ESVA to be one of the top products out there that's actually helping schools mitigate a lot of the issues they have. But let me not talk too much about myself or about the product. So, let me introduce Lenny Libitz. He's the CTO for the Southbound Brook School District. We want Lenny to be the primary speaker because he's living with all the challenges schools are facing today. We have best to hear about these issues, but someone has been living it day to day and have the same life experiences most of you probably have in your school districts or your schools itself. So Lenny, can you give us a quick intro on yourself and talk a little about the district you work with?
Sure. My name is Lenny Libitz. I'm the Chief Technology Officer with the Southbound Brook Public School. We're a K-8 school district here in the state of New Jersey. I've been working in technology for over 20 years, starting out as a computer tech, sysadmin, and for the last 4 years, I've been in the role of Chief Technology Officer. A lot of challenges working in a school district, especially now during COVID remote learning. And hopefully we can, chat and enlighten some of the viewers regarding ways to protect themselves and protect their email systems from attack vectors.
Lenny, you mentioned something that's very important. You said about remote learning. How has remote learning been impacted by the cybersecurity posture for your school?
Previously, staff members would keep their devices here. Students would keep their devices here. Devices never left. Laptops stayed on site. Everything, they were locked away in carts for the evening, and everyone went home. With remote learning and devices being shifted to the home, everyone's working remotely. Your internal security firewalls, content filters, intrusion detection, stuff like that really doesn't do anything. Devices leave. Your antivirus is pretty much the last form of defense on a device and any sort of policies you have in place on that device. An email gateway is one of the ways to protect yourself a little bit better, because remote learning, remote workers, they're using the district's devices and they're using their own devices. So having an email security gateway in place, I felt was one of the best ways to protect us. I mean, it's defense in depth, it's multiple technologies, but email is definitely one of the biggest attack vectors, and having LibreEsser's products in place has definitely helped us secure this institution from attacks. And I'll speak to some of those incidents that were able to stop
Lenny,
this school year.
You said something that most people are not aware of, because you mentioned about antivirus, about a lot of products. A lot of people that we've been engaged with feels that, hey, they have a G Suite, or they may have Office 365, and say, well, you know what, they already have protections. Why do I need anything more? And I'd like to expound on that a little bit more, of why those things are not adequate. What are the challenges you were having? Why even went this direction? Felt you needed something else?
So we're a Google school. A lot of what we do is Chromebooks and stuff like that, and using Gmail, using Google's advanced settings for Gmail. We implemented those. Set up, the content compliance rules, custom regex entries, and it works. We have the enterprise licensing, so we do get a little bit of extra protection with malware scanning and sandboxing. But I was playing this game of every hour checking mail quarantine. First thing in the morning, I was in there every single hour. When I get home in the evening, I was checking it every single hour, and I was afraid of losing or having an email that did not reach its destination. So I was suffering from alert fatigue, felt the need that there's got to be a better way to do this, and that there has to be a system that can do it better than Google can do it. I can speak to Google perfectly. I have a friend who shifted over, was using Libra in his Microsoft environment, and we both experienced the same positive things by having an email security gateway in place, and it has definitely protected us. It saved us time. I feel it's made this environment safer. This is the one way I feel many districts and organizations should be leaning towards.
I agree with you completely. And here's something that I talk to a lot of schools about, because they say, why do I need something else? Security is almost like for your home. The first line of security is you buy a door for your house. Some people may say that's good enough. The next thing you know, they put a lock on that door because they found people can walk in. And they say that's good enough. So they say, you know what? Hey, I may need an alarm system just in case somebody breaks the glass and come in. Then you may say, I need security cameras to put around it. Then you may get a dog. These are different layers. So you can't just depend on one solution. You have to depend on who's just going to do things well. And LibreEsser is that next layer that now allows you to, hey, free up your time. And I love the fact you talk about freeing up your time, because how valuable is that for you to do your work and everything you do?
It's extremely valuable knowing that it works. I want to speak to the antivirus point. So, your antivirus is installed in your endpoints, and do you allow that same antivirus product to be installed on personal devices? Is there an antivirus product installed on Android phones, on iPhones? If you're not doing that, your antivirus is only protecting one vector, one particular segment of your devices. So staff are using the district provided devices and personal devices. And if you could stop the threat before it reaches the device, that's huge. It's huge. If you're waiting for your antivirus to detect the threat, it's already hopped the fence. And that's extremely dangerous to think about, because it could be a threat that's not detected by AV, and then it might be too late.
And what people don't realize is the biggest threat. What did you tell me when we spoke before? Hackers are bad.
Certain type of hackers are bad. The ones that go for malicious intent are bad. Let's just say that.
So one of the biggest threats to the environment is hackers are bad, but they're not hacking the servers. Who are they hacking the school systems? Are the students and the staff?
Students, staff, they're sitting, they're waiting. They compromise mailboxes. They'll sit and wait. And then they'll collect and see how an organization operates and find out who the go-to people are. and they're doing reconnaissance essentially. And if you don't have, multi-factor authentication in place and other things, email security gateway, you're doing a disservice to your district. Again, defense in depth, multiple technologies. There isn't one particular product, but yes, going in this direction is definitely something I feel, governments, school districts, private companies, private organizations really need to consider and investigate and reach out to gentlemen like yourselves to find out more information.
So let me ask, with the email being one of the biggest security threats, in my opinion, one of the biggest security breaches, but that's what touches the end user that may know any better and clicks on links. So with email being the biggest security breaches, have you experienced anything that validated why you needed to add on these extra layers of security, especially with email?
If an email comes in and it's a Google account and it passes checks, and there's a URL, and that URL is malicious, LibreS will analyze that, sandbox it, rewrite the link, and if it does wind up in the mailbox, they click the link. It isn't a live link going directly to that malicious page. It's redirected, and then a pop-up message shows up for the end user, which is huge. And that is on any device. It doesn't have to be a district-owned device, personal devices, iPhones, you name it. You receive the email, links are rewritten. Attachments get disarmed. So if Word documents, PowerPoints, Excel files are sent to an end user, those documents are disarmed, malicious content is removed, and a sanitized version of that document is sent on. Again, if it meets all the checks and balances of all the settings in place, that may not reach the end user based on scores, but I have witnessed firsthand emails being quarantined, and then you looking in the system and going, why was that quarantined? Looks legit, feels legit. Thank goodness it was blocked, because if I look at something and I feel it was legitimate without deep diving it for a second in the system, it definitely would trip up an end user and could cause a major problem. And I could touch on an incident that happened recently. So an email was sent last year to another organization for records request. It wasn't records via email, but it was just saying, I need a request for records. Yep, here's the form. Please fill out this form. So correspondence returned the form. 6-7 months later, an email comes in with the same message. It's just adding on to that message. It was what appeared to be the user who was sent previously, their mailbox was compromised, not our organization. The other user's mailbox was compromised. That message was taken, was copied, crafted, and then sent back to our end user. LibreS stopped it dead in its tracks. It did not get to our user, but it was essentially a remote access Trojan, fileless malware in Word doc that could have caused some major problems. That file was sent for analysis. It was not detected by our antivirus. It was not detected by Windows Defender. It could have caused a major problem for us. It was detected later on, a few hours later. So yeah, having this in place, having a system that has this capability is huge, because it's peace of mind at the end of the day. I will always say that business email compromise is probably the biggest threat we face because of how fluid working is today, how we're working from anywhere. So the controls we have in place with these, super expensive firewalls, next gen this, at the end of the day, it's old school email that's tripping everybody up.
Yes, I agree with you completely. So Lenny, what are the liabilities schools have? I mean, what's their obligations if something happens? What could happen to a school?
We have to disclose any sort of breaches. We have to contact legal and go through the motions, and then there's remediation and contacting insurance companies, and it's a huge headache, huge undertaking. We take student privacy extremely seriously, staff privacy extremely seriously, and I feel that we are better protected by having this in place. And yes, there's each state has its own regulations and requirements, but school districts, we have brand new identities, and we need to protect those identities and make sure that the student information does not get leaked and isn't obtained by bad actors. And we're trying to do our part, and having a product like this in place is definitely helping us, secure our environment and our infrastructure.
All right, guys, we're winding up on we have about 9 more minutes. I want to leave some time for some Q&A. So if anybody have questions, please throw them up there. I'm going to be getting to them in a few. Lenny, I wanted you to just recap of what made you make your final decision on using the LibreSFA. If you just give a recap on that, so everybody can get a feel of why you went into this direction compared to something else.
Sure. So I was using Google's security controls, the content compliance rules. Was finding that it was extremely time consuming. I had to create all these custom rules, to block certain things from being sent and received internally. Was burning a lot of time through my day trying to find time to just go through the quarantine and making sure, email was not missed. And I was suffering from alert fatigue, essentially. So like, I was doing what LibreSFA does, essentially, but not to its full capability. I could never compete with LibreSFA. Evaluating several different solutions, going through the motions, making sure it's the right fit for us. Having conversations with Chris Peluso and the engineers at LibreSFA, having conversations with Wayne, just discussing and making sure it was the right fit for us. We demoed it. We demoed it in production. We were seeing it in real time, watching and looking at the data, and then presenting that data to our school administrators to make a decision on whether this was a good fit for us. And at the end of the day, it was a no-brainer. School administration looked at it, understood its capability and what it can do and how it can better protect us, especially in this age of remote learning and remote workers. And at any given time now, we could be remote. It's just the way we're living, right? So we felt the need, evaluated it, purchased it and implemented it. And I cannot say a negative thing about it. Again, the engineers were awesome, just helped us out, got it, set up for us, fine-tuned it. And it's not a set it and forget it product. You can make changes to it. You can a little more advanced settings in there, but it's definitely helped us out. And if you told me today that we're taking Libre away and we're giving you the Google controls back, I would be very unhappy.
Brian, if you could put up our contact information in case anybody wants to email us. Like I said, the presentation is going to be available. We're going to jump into Q&A because I got 1 or 2 questions here that people have put up. But let's have our contact info. Like I said, any questions, you want to reach out to myself, Chris, or Lenny, I'll make the connections. And if you want a copy of the slide deck and the presentation, we'll send you a link to the video. I have one question do you have a user policy for the email usage for your schools?
Meaning like an acceptable use policy?
Yes.
We do. Yeah, it's, our acceptable use policy covers everything under device usage and email usage as well. So yes, that's something I would definitely advocate for in your district. Ours is student and staff is very similar. We just changed some wording in there, but yeah, we are covered in our acceptable use policy for email. How staff are supposed to use email, not using it for personal, sign up for online banking, stuff like that. They shouldn't be, but people do. Yes, definitely. I recommend writing in a good acceptable use policy. You can search if you're looking to find one in your state. Start Googling acceptable use policy school district in your region, and you just find one that works for you and massage it to so it fits your district.
One is, how do you handle quarantined emails that are good? I assume they're asking, because I've had something like that thrown, they're asking about, can the users manage their quarantine box?
Yes, absolutely. So we have quarantine managed by end users here. The system is intelligent enough not to release a malicious email that's really, really bad. I'll say front office staff will have access to go into their mail quarantine. They'll receive, you can set the system to basically send you reminders to check your mail quarantine during the day. It will provide you a list of those emails that are in that quarantine, and then you could release those directly from the email. We use Google single sign-on here, so with us, it's super easy. As long as they're signed into their Google account, they receive the email, they want to release that message, they click on it, the message is released pretty instant. And then, they don't want to see that ever again, they can right then and there go into the system and just blacklist it or mark it as spam. And it's super convenient, super easy. You can definitely give controls to your end users to manage their own quarantine. And I recommend it after some training.
And you know what? I agree with you completely, because we've dealt with many environments where you get those calls every 5 minutes. Oh, I didn't get this or I didn't get that. Allowing them to manage their own quarantine box now gives the onus to you. And I'm sure you're happy because now your time is free.
Absolutely.
Those calls.
Yeah, and the one thing I like about that that report that we send ours 3 times a day is I glance at it, I look at it, and if something's in there that was hung up because of keywords or whatnot, you can literally go in there and release it. There's no more need to call IT and say, please release this message. Put that responsibility on the end user. And again, the system is so intelligent that if there's a malicious email or link, it's not going to. It does a very good job. Let's just say that at stopping those threats.
And one thing I'm not sure if you mentioned this is the capability. If you find something that was blocked, and even if it's not and looks suspicious to you, you can actually submit it, and they will investigate it, sandbox it, test it, and come back to you and let you know whether they found something.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, we'd like to say it's perfect. Everything is perfect, right? But there are times that a message may slip through, and if that happens, and I will tell you this, it will not slip through with a malicious attachment, but you may get a message that is a little kind of spammy, the wording, and if you want to recall it, as long as you have it configured to recall messages, we do it with G Suite. You just go into the message, tap recall, and whoever that message was sent to, it's pulled out of their mailbox.
Excellent. So you tell me we can't block the Nigerian Prince email?
You can. Come on. He's just looking for friends.
But now wrapping up at 12. If anybody has anything else you want to throw in the chat with there, Chris, I don't know, you want to add something else to this?
No, just to say that, it's been great, working with Lenny. I mean, as he's really helped us with, one of the things we like to do is have a very open dialogue with all of our customers, because as he stated, sometimes you just need to take a closer look. We need to take a closer look at things just to make sure we're doing our best to identify email that, is a bit more difficult to catch. And so, working with Lenny and Wayne and our other customers and partners, we continue to do that on an ongoing basis. And so that's for us, really, that's kind of the perfect working relationship.
Excellent. That's why you guys are so great.
Yeah, I'll say this one last thing. It's not just here's your product, have a nice day. There is a relationship that is, you're building a relationship. And it was very nice to see that, because many times you purchase a product, it's just, here you go. Here's support's number, have a nice day. That is not the case with Librasva.
And that's because security is not you set it and leave it. It's correct. Ongoing, always changing. It's all these companies would not have so much issue with that simple of a thing where you just do it and walk away from it. It's a long-term relationship. And it's always changing. But this product allows you to put some of the other layers of accountability, where somebody can actually see what's coming in prior to your end users getting it. That's very important for any environment.
Yep, absolutely.
Great. Guys, I really appreciate it. Lenny, you were excellent. I appreciate you getting on board. Chris,
thank you very much.
I want to thank everybody for jumping on. Any questions, feel reach out to us. Our email is there, our phone number is there. And we can answer any question you may have, and anything that comes across, we're here for you. Again, thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Yep, stay safe, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.